morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Well, when the matter, which if one can call it that, with the Inspector General of Police sort of broke out weeks ago, it was something in the nature of a pinprick, but now it's become something in the nature of a big festering sore, perhaps. Because if you looked at the papers this morning, the Inspector General of Police is actually, Mr. Ibrahim Idris. There's a story there about him seeking, approaching the courts to ask them to stop the Senate from investigating him. Now, all of this, of course, the shorthand for the whole case is the whole matter of 120 billion allegation, 120 billion annually income that he's making from companies and individuals. And that's apart from all sorts of other accusations, none of which are savory, and I imagine all of which are very damaging to the top cop of the country. Well, he's fighting to, clean the slate and explain himself, but it's still very much out there. The senator said that it will set up an ad hoc committee to look at the matter, and well, I don't know why the Police Service Commission is not the organ that is involved. But here we are, people who probably will have some idea as to what exactly is going on. Let me introduce Mr. Mustapha Ogunshakin. Mr. Ogunshakin is a journalist and he publishes Gavel International. Thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning.
Indeed. And well, Mr. Tunde Kolawole, he's a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on as well. So let me start off with you, if I may, Mr. Ogunshakin. On the one hand, this is an era of war against corruption, and that I think is the notion in which I read that the Senate is looking at it, that look, we heard a complaint, there's no way we can ignore it. In fact, we're going to set up an ad hoc committee to look at it. Give me your perspective on all of this. We'll probably touch on some of those speculations as to what exactly is going on, but from your perspective, what exactly is going on?
Thank you very much, sir. I think, first of all, we have to look at how this all started. How did it all start? I think the police got a petition.
That's right.
That borders on perjury against Senator Misal.
Mm-hmm.
And the IG's directed that should be investigated.
Yeah. Okay, Senator
Haman
Misal. Yes, Issa Haman Misal.
Yes.
Secretary of the Navy in the
chairman of the
chairman of the
Navy something in the Senate.
Yes.
Not even the police.
Not the police.
So there was a petition against him that the name, the date of birth that he used in entering the police was quite different from the one that he used when he wanted to contest
so that would be
in
perjury.
2011.
If true.
That would be perjury.
If true, that is true. Perjury.
So I think the Inspector General of Police decided that it is worth investigating.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing we started hearing is how corrupt the Inspector General of Police as a person is, how he wanted to marry, he married a police officer.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll come to all of that.
Yes.
Because it did get
those are even the things that have, it's a sequence. And it got to a point that I started thinking, could there be a personal thing between Senator Misal and IGP Ibrahim Idris? Then it escalated into an institutional thing, bringing in the Police Service Commission and the chairman of the Police Commission, even the acting commissioner of police in Lagos State is now involved.
Well,
I mean,
but in a different,
in
a different kind of way.
What I'm saying is that
it
is becoming what the Yorubas will call issue attire.
Okay,
something like that.
Because when you brought in the Mr. Imohimi Edgar, the new acting CP of Lagos, Barrister Kolawole, I think the allegation in there is that it's an inappropriate appointment. But I've since seen some communication that, look, hang on, these man's mates are actually full-fledged commissioners, and here he is just starting out as an acting commissioner. But all sorts of things are being thrown into this particular fire, not just logs, whatever will make it burn the more. What do you think is going on here? Because, as I said, it's very, very damaging, I think, to the integrity of the police force.
Yeah, honestly speaking, my humble opinion, I think what we are seeing is characteristics of the Nigerian elites. Rather than face the real issues at stakes and other, you find that most often and other, they engage in mudslinging. The issues, as far as I'm concerned, is a very, very straightforward one. Somebody has been accused of deserting the police. Somebody else has also come up with the allegation that the IG of police has been corrupt, has been receiving illegal money, and then perpetrating corruptions all over the place. All we require to do as a nation, as a people, is for maybe the Attorney General of the Federation to call in the EFCC and say, look, these are allegations we have received from here and there, or even the DSS and other. Go into this matter, investigate and other. And then reports would have been submitted. And then the Attorney General of the Federal Police, based on report that is submitted to him, will be able to take appropriate legal action regarding all of these things. But rather than go that way or another, you find out the Attorney General himself.
Because it's a simple enough
very, very simple
case on the face of it.
Exactly.
But as we have often been told in
Yes.
conversations we have on this program, things are never as simple as they look.
Yeah.
It's because the allies in this country will always engage in mudslinging. And you see, I also want to blame, I'm sorry to say this, the presidency regarding all of these things and other. If I were the president, what would I simply have done is, even if it was based on mere newspaper report alone, I would have copied it, made photocopy, and then minute on it to the Inspector of Police and said, look, these are what has been allegations you have seen against you. Can you please give me your own reply within so number of hours regarding your culpability of this? A kind of small query to the IG of Police. And then when you have replied, you will either send it to the FCC or the ICPC and I said, look, please investigate all of this. And then you get a report from some of these people and other. And then when you have gotten your report, you forward to the appropriate authority, that the Attorney General of the Police, Attorney General of the Federation, to take appropriate action. And if you are not doing that, you will also, the party, the APC also has a role to play in all of these things and other. The APC could also have prevailed on the Senate and other to take appropriate action. And then beside that, these two people require to step aside, the IG of Police and then Senator Mensah, because if you are going to get to the bottom of these things and other, they must step aside because they will continue to use their offices as it is today to relay the cloud.
Why do you think?
I will have to disagree a little with Mr. I think we have to be very, very careful here. The way we accuse people in authority, I think it is very, very important.
Because
sometimes
the accusation, yes. When you said a small query, actually it's going to be a major one because the allegation is that the Inspector General was extorting.
He said it was extorting money.
And
he was collecting up to 120 billion in annual.
Thank you. And I think
that he was collecting money.
He who alleges must prove.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
How much attention are we paying to that aspect of the matter? Because all Nigerians will want to get to the bottom of this.
He who alleges, sir, has to prove, like you rightly said. It was Senator Hammer Misao that made all these allegations. I think the proper thing for him to do, the proper thing for the institutions to do, is to bring him to come and substantiate the allegations that he has made. And there are precedents to this.
I follow you up to there.
Yeah.
But then again, let me just throw one sort of a spanner in the whole wheel. Now the Punch this morning says the Inspector General asked court to stop the Senate. Well, in fact, it says stop Sarakia and Senate from investigating him, whereas it might well be within his rights to do so.
Yes.
On the other hand, if he believes that they're all on a fool's errand and there's absolutely nothing to hide, why don't they just continue, waste their energy and waste their time, and at the end of the day, the person who will be disgraced, and the person who will be,
well, I have a little view that is not that. I think that even for the Senate to have descended to the arena, because by setting up that committee, it means that the Senate has descended to the arena. And this is not the first time that is happening again. We saw the same thing played out on the Magu issue. I mean, the FCC chairman's issue, that they descended onto the something. So if the man now feels that, okay, you people have conspired to do this to me, if he goes to court to stop them, I don't think it is wrong. I don't think it is wrong. He has to, I think he has to defend, he has a right to defend himself. Honestly, that's my own personal opinion.
Yes.
But you see, my brother here is a lawyer, and I think the best thing is to really look at how this, like I mentioned, how it started. It's an issue of perjury. Now, you are accused as a senator. I mean, there was a petition against you.
That his date of birth was different.
You see,
you know,
just a few weeks, a few days ago at the Bar and Bench Forum here in Lagos, 2 senior lawyers, one a professor, another a senior advocate of Nigeria, was still talking about the way Nigerians commit perjury. You come to court, you swear to a false oath, and unfortunately, like one barrister Tunde Fagwolu said, he's a senior advocate of Nigeria, he said he cannot recollect anybody being prosecuted for perjury in Nigeria. And it happens every day. People come to court, you swear to a oath that you know it is false. As a matter of fact, Professor Oshipiton of the University of Lagos, I remember, had to say that we have to review our oath taking to bring it into a punitive measure to it.
But it's
like,
talking about these oaths and sworn and affidavits, when you go swear to an oath, the court doesn't have any mechanism for checking out the veracity of what you're saying, right? If it gets stamped, and unfortunately, it begins to be something that people can run with until they can prove that perjury was involved. How does this sit in terms of fairness? For instance, some sort of protection for public people that just perhaps deserve not to have all sorts of complications in their hair as they're going about their normal job.
Yeah, honestly speaking, in fairness to our cause, I think they do have mechanisms to check whether people are really saying the truth or not. But when you appear before the Commission of Oath, what you are saying is you are saying, on my honor, everything that I'm saying before you is the truth and all that. Sometimes they would ask you questions. There are some of our courts now, you are supposed to put your passport photographs on the oath you are taking and all that. And then it's like putting your hand on the Bible, on the Quran, when you're on the witness bar and say, look, everything I'm going to say before this court is the truth and nothing but the truth. So, no. That is the reason why most times and all that, you are supposed to appear in person. And when you appear in person before the Commissioner of Oaths and all that, it's for him to be able to even read some of the things you are presenting before him, and where he has that, to be able to ask certain questions. I'll give you an example. If at my age now I go to court and say, look, I am 35 years old, the Commissioner for Oaths should be able to take a look at me and ask me questions. When did you leave secondary school? What year did you leave secondary school? When did you leave primary schools and all that? And then putting 2 plus 3 together and all that, be able to arrive at the chair and look, the possibility that this man is saying the truth is zero. And then decide not to put his stamp of authority. So what you're saying is that... But you find that most times and other, when people go to swear and other, they did not even appear. They even send somebody, and then the Commissioner for Oaths...
That was the point I was going to make. They arrive with a typed document ready-made.
You are not supposed to. The Commissioner for Oaths is not supposed to put his seal on it without seeing the person who is deposing to this affidavit and all that, and then even asking them relevant questions to verify the authenticity of what they have put before him.
Now, how much stock do you place on, what, our brother here said, that it all originates from that petition to the police and the Inspector General deciding that there's something to check out here, just to investigate. And apparently that is where it all hit the fan from. And it seems, depending on which side of the conversation you're talking to, in fact, they have actually asked for the removal, for the removal of the Inspector General of Police. So, what do you think about that? The notion that this is where it all started from?
Yeah, I just think that this what we are seeing is a matter of impunity, and then of allies believing that they're above the law. Senator Mesau probably felt that, how dare you?
Because he was called a deserter. I think somewhere along the line, from within the police, he was referred to as a deserter.
Somebody wrote a petition against me, and then you don't even take into consideration me being a senator of the Federal Republic, and then you now decide to investigate it and all that. And we are saying, look, for God's sake, nobody is above the law. And based on that feeling that that I'm above the law, that the IG of police need not have investigated me, the man himself decided to throw some mud to the Inspector General of Police and all that. And then the whole thing has become a mudslinging exercise. But let me say this. Senator Mensah is not above the law.
Okay.
And the IGP of Police himself is not above the law.
Well, we've got to go on a break now. We'll come back and we'll continue. We'll take your calls as well when we come back. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back, and we're looking at the saga in the Nigeria police. We're not quite sure what exactly it is. Is it an internal affair? Also, a former police officer, now a senator, taking umbrage at the fact that the police seemed set to investigate a petition that had been sent to it alleging that he had perjured himself. Right now, the committee in the Senate that has been set up to look into this whole matter. If you look at newspaper reports, they say they've not been able to really start in earnest because neither Senator Misau nor Mr. Idris Ibrahim, the Inspector General of Police, have been available, to respond to an invitation yet. So all of this is going on. Now, the Office of the Attorney General, reports tell us, have also, as it were, taking the matter to court.
Yes, and I think that's a step in the right direction. What I thought the Senate should have done was that once they realized that the Attorney General has filed a matter on this issue, they ought to have waited for the end result of this before saying they want to set up their own committee. By doing this now is that they want to counter what the executive have done. And what the Attorney General has done, I think, is a step in the right direction. Sometimes in 1975, sir, a journalist came out to accuse the late General Ahmad Murtala Mohammed of corruption. And the man was charged to court. And when the journalist realized that he was actually wrong, he tendered an apology and was left off the hook. Okay. That was one.
Okay. Now, but what just remind me, what's your response to the whole idea, responding to the headline this morning that IG asked court to stop Saraki? As I said, why not just leave them alone?
I mentioned that he has the right to do that, basically because if, like I just said now, if the Senate realized that the Attorney General has stepped into this matter, they ought to have at least waited until the result. I don't know, sir, but I think they ought to have waited until.
With due regards to the step taken by Attorney General, I think it is wrong. Wrong in so many ramifications. The Attorney General is supposed to be a neutral umpire between these two persons, the Senator Misau and then the Inspector General of Police. What, like I said, ought to have been done, in my humble opinion, because who has investigated this matter? As far as we are concerned, it is the General of Police who said he had investigated Misau and found him to have committed perjury regarding some of the oaths he had deposed to in the court of law and order.
By the way, has that decision come down?
I really differ on this.
Has the police actually made a statement on the petition yet?
The inspector, the police PPRO at one time, one Jima or whatever, another, had on several occasions addressed the press and said, look, we have investigated and found out this man is a deserter. We have investigated and found out that he lied on oath and other. So coming from the offices of the Inspector General of Police, because the man actually is under the office of the Inspector and he reports to him and other. So in that respect, I would have looked forward to a situation in which a neutral body will be responsible for investigating these things and other. And when they have concluded investigations and other, you take it to an appropriate agency of government to prosecute. Not just Misau, but also even the IGP of Police has some questions to answer. Even if it is one couple that he has collected without remitting to the corporate account of the Federation, now he's liable. I'll give you an example. Before now, whoever knew that there was so much money in JAM, in the offices of JAM. The JAM people has remitted billions of naira to the federal government. But all the chief executives before the man who is there now, most times will remit maybe 500,000 or 1 million when they have made billions of naira and then they just share this, so to say, among themselves. So whatever accusations has been made against the Inspector of Police and how to be thoroughly investigated. And I'm saying that investigation cannot come from the police themselves. It must come from a neutral body.
Okay, and by the way, this whole matter of 120 billion, the B word, In fact, when we're talking about NNPC, we're talking about billions of dollars as well. Now, that whole matter has also now sort of taken on a different hue now that, wait a minute, maybe the whole billion aspect of the whole thing was overstated. Now, I don't know.
That is exactly my point. That it was right for the Attorney General to have stepped in at this point in time. Because if you say that this man collects billions from providing private security annually, when was the time that he resumed office? How many months or years have he spent, as Idris spent as Inspector General of Police? Are you talking about what the police had done before him and what is still continuing now? All this has to be determined. So
these are...
and he who alleges, it's an allegation. You have to prove it.
So are these...
You can't just answer. I'm very, very serious about it because we have seen this thing going on and on and on, even including the president.
You don't think the Senate committee can do a fair job?
I don't think so. I don't think so. With all respect, I don't think they have the capacity.
You think they have it in?
I think they are already descended into the arena.
But why would they have it in for the Inspector General of Police? I mean, apart from what Senator Saraki said, that look, our colleague has brought this matter and we can't ignore it. Apart from that, what would the Senate have against the Inspector General of Police?
Well, it's neither here nor there. I don't know about that.
No,
but I know
just
that
thinking about the integrity
Senate
of the
will want
investigation.
Yes, I don't believe the Senate can do a thorough job in this because, number one, Senator Misao is one of them. And he will probably enjoy the confidence and support of his own people. Now, there's one thing you can't say because you are a senator. What the law allows you to do is that if you are on the floor of the Senate, you can make allegations.
Yes, you will.
And you have immunity there. But the moment you leave that place to your own office in that place and make allegations against people, then you must have to prove it. Now, setting up a committee to investigate this, the Senate is indirectly saying that, okay, they won't allow their own member to face to prove the allegations that they had already made. I don't think that's right. We
don't have anybody from the police.
I don't think that is right.
We don't have anybody from the police here, but because I would have wanted to sort of get a glimpse into sort of what does it feel like within the police force itself. Are there camps in there? How are they viewing all of this? There's an official line, of course, because as you were saying, you've heard the PPRO speak. So let's say that's the official line. But are there other undercurrents, and are these relevant? Because the important thing at the end of the day is that you want the top cop in the country to be beyond reproach, because it hampers him, and for that matter, the force. If look, when you look at it, I think I read an interview over the weekend where someone was, referring to, was it that the Police Service Commission that one would have thought would have been handling all of these matters, something along the lines of this particular Inspector General of Police not being, being a bit distant from the commission. Not that I understand the import of all of that, but you begin to see that this whole thing maybe there's more to this than meets the eye, as often is the case with these matters that often are politicized. It's a simple, straightforward matter about was there perjury or not. But you can see that here we are talking about it and it goes way beyond that.
Well, let me start with the Senate. When you look at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the responsibilities that the lawmakers are saddled with are very, very specific. It is, one, represent their different constituencies, make laws for the Federation, and then conduct oversight functions and that. But you find out that too many times, this Senate has always gone on a voyage of frivolous voyage of discoveries and all that, which is totally beyond them. Let me say this. The responsibility given to the Senate and the National Assembly regarding investigation has to do with money that has been appropriated by the National Assembly and that is either abused or not being properly utilized. When it comes to investigating criminal accusations and allegations and whatever, it is the responsibility of the executive arm of government. If Mesau stood on the floor of the National Assembly and said what he has said, all all that the Senate needs you to do is to maybe take the verbatim report or the answer, whatever is reported that they transmit to the executive arm of government or executive arm of government for appropriate investigation, and then for the executive arm of government to be able to take the necessary step regarding that prosecution or not prosecuting after investigations have been conducted. But to find out that this Senate has already seen it like it had happened in the past, seeing this as a slap on the face of the Senate, something they smear on the Senate and other, and which they must find a way to really take it back on the executive arm of government. And that is why the action that has been taken by the Attorney General of the Federation of the Service is a lot defective, because he is already playing to the hands of the Senate by taking down this. Like I said, he ought to be a neutral umpire. When two citizens are engaged in this kind of dirty fight that we have seen Mesau and IGP engaging and other, the Attorney General ought to be neutral. And if it's going to be neutral, what he ought to do is to have set the necessary machinery in motion for both the IG and MSR to be investigated by the appropriate agencies of government, and then for them to be prosecuted by a neutral body. Not the Attorney General siding with the IG or police the way he has done, taking Mesau to court. He cannot.
Let us look at it.
With his doing it now,
let us look at it this way.
he could be
What would
accused.
be the basis?
Let us look at it this way,
What would be the
Mr.
basis?
Let us look at it.
What would be the basis of the?
Let us look at the investigation that was carried out.
Whose investigation is the AGF taking to court, the Attorney General taking to court now?
The Senate harped upon that was why they didn't confirm Magu as the chairman, as the substantive chairman of EFCC. They said they relied on a DSS report, isn't it? Yeah. Now, why can't the Senate follow the same procedure they followed in that matter, in this one, waiting for the investigations of the police, so that at least they will be able to at least ascertain the truth in this matter? They didn't do that.
They can't use the police. The police is already a party to this issue. Nobody can be a judge,
whether we like it or not,
or an investigator in his own case. Of course, the ICPC is there, the EFCC is there.
Sir, police is an institution. Don't look at police.
The police is being accused in this case. The police is being accused. They cannot be part and parcel of the investigation. Their own investigation cannot be taken because the police in itself is the one that is being indicted now. So that is where the challenges come from.
I don't think the indictment, don't let us get these things wrong. The indictment is not the police. It is the person or the Inspector General of Police that is being accused in this matter.
No.
Look at those.
Why do I say this? Look at even the Police Service Commission. The police in the service contesting that the letter that is given to Misao, disengaging him from the police is forgery. Because a man retired in 2011 and another is just getting his letter of disengagement in 2014. Something is fishy there.
Besides that, sir.
Let me do a quick break. I don't know. I expected calls, but maybe when we come back, they'll put the calls. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. Sort of an interesting conversation on goings-on within the hierarchy of the Nigeria Police, because the Inspector General of Police has been accused of damaging, allegations, including the fact that up to 120 billion naira annually, but the man hasn't spent annually yet. I mean, he's just barely a year in office. But you made allusions to the fact that we never knew there was so much money in JAM. I don't know that anybody even knew that there was that much money in security and posting security to individuals and to these companies. So, but it's all out there. It's dragging on. Where is the end to all of this? The latest we hear from this particular scenario is that the Inspector General has approached the courts to stop the Senate. So what would he want? Just leave it? But what's your just leave the matter the way it is, because this whole matter, the Inspector General seems to be praying the court to stop the Senate from investigating him.
For me, sir, I think all this will not get us to anywhere. I will still want us, if possible, to toe the line of the Attorney General in getting to the bottom of this matter.
What?
A lot of things will be surprised by the time this matter gets to court. you will be shocked at the revelations that you will get to see. That is, if it is true. But the onus is on Senator Misao to come and prove 120 billion. He should be able to say this is how much Shell, Chevron, or any other company that is involved in this matter that he has not mentioned. He has not even mentioned any company.
Nobody has been mentioned.
He should be able to come to court to say these are my own findings as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Don't forget to.
But he's speaking as a senior. Yes.
As a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he will have to defend his own oath by coming out to say exactly what I mean. He must be able to come out again to say that the Commissioner of Police of so state bribed the IG. This is how much he gave to him.
Because these were the allegations that were made.
You just can't
that
come because somebody is in high office. You just can't come and make allegations, spurious allegations.
To drag him down.
Otherwise, we won't have any trust in the leadership of a country. It goes worse to the extent that the woman that he allegedly married.
Okay, we'll come to that. Good morning, Mr. George, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, the case is messy from two fronts. One, the Senate has more or less turned into a court against the Nigerian people. Anything that affects any of them, they take it as something against the whole of them, against the interest of the Nigerian people. Because one of them has made allegations, or the police has made allegations against one of them, it has become an allegation against the Senate. It is in that sense that Senate is setting up all sorts of committees. So they are doing witch hunting. That is number one. So the IG has a right to go to court on what he has perceived to be a witch hunting. On the other hand, I do not see why the Attorney General has to go to court. The matter at hand is between the Inspector General of Police as an individual and another Nigerian citizen. So if the Attorney General is going to court, on whose behalf? Is it going to court on behalf of the Inspector General? And if the government is doing that, they are giving an impression that the IG of police cannot be wrong, or he cannot do anything wrong. If there has been an allegation against the IG of police, it should be investigated. And like the lawyer there said, because it is the police IG that is involved, there is not likely to be a fair investigation if you ask the police to investigate it. So another security agency should have been called in to investigate the matter. It is the findings of that investigation that should necessitate who should be prosecuted. But for government to go to court, I don't know why the government has to go to court on behalf of who. Is it the IG that is being accused that has not been cleared? That's an investigation set.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. That seems reasonable enough.
Let me also add
but the police have their own police inside there.
They do.
The army have their own police inside there. Even the other agencies that we're talking about, they sort of link to the police, right? That's why I was saying that it would be interesting to see what the dynamics are within the force itself.
Let me quickly chip in that. You see, with Misao even being taken to court, now it's going to be difficult for Misao to be able to prove his case because all the documents that he will require would have to come from the police. And so long as the IG keep on sitting there and all that, his boys and girls who work with him and all that will make it difficult for Misao to be able to prove his case.
Assuming he has anything to...
You are talking extrajudicially.
Assuming he even has anything to hide.
In fact, in most times and all that, if care is not taken out, the IG of police will start destroying all the records through which he could be prosecuted, through which he could be named.
This is why I mentioned...
That is what they have always done in the past.
From the outset, how this matter started. Police was investigating...
Sorry, I'll let you continue, but let me just take Isiak calling in from Jos. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
And good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
I actually believe the mere fact for the Attorney General of the Federation to sue Senator Misao on the allegation against the Inspector General of Police is mere waste of public resources, taxpayers' money. If the IG has approached the court, it should be between the Senator Misao and IG. The onus lies on Senator Misao to prove actually collected. I actually believe police is corrupt. But I doubt if the Inspector General of Police receive as much as 10 billion naira on a monthly basis. I think that is one. On the fact that IG to the Nigerian Senate trying to stop its probe, I actually believe that is not even necessary. The Senate has is part of their oversight function to probe. If the IG has nothing to hide, I believe it shouldn't even in the first place try to sue the Nigerian Senate for stopping the probe. I want to suggest the probe should continue and the IG should face Senator Misson and challenge them to court to prove beyond reasonable doubt that this money were actually collected. That's my take. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much for calling in.
And I think that is exactly what the Attorney General of the Federation had done as the government lawyer, to file charges against Misson to come and prove. That is what is. If you look at the charges, part of the charges against that was published was that this even have to do with the perjury matter that is here, that he swore to an affidavit at a particular point in time and swore to another affidavit at another time. We must not allow a situation where because you are in high office, you cannot be investigated.
You don't see that action of the AGF's office as butting into the case.
No. Oh, okay. Inasmuch as the Inspector General, the Office of the Inspector General of Police of Nigeria is part of government. Okay. It is the duty of the Attorney General of the Federation to, if he sees that okay, there's something here, it is his duty to do that.
On the integrity of the office.
Exactly.
And hold it up to public ridicule.
People must not be allowed, just because you are in high office, because you are a senator, or you are in any other high office, to make allegations, spurious allegations against another.
Well, the whole thing is alleged. On the one hand, the perjury is alleged.
That is
on
why
the other hand,
it is very, very important.
The allegations, the spurious allegation is also allegedly spurious.
One of the callers said that
the IG of police has so many options.
What happens in this matter? What happens in this matter? All these allegations of Senator Misson started because it was being investigated in the first instance. If he had not been investigated, we probably wouldn't have got. Of course. So when does it become an offense? When does it become an offense for the police to investigate a person based on the petition that they received? So because of that, now the personality of the Inspector General of Police has to now join the fray because you are investigating me. Okay. So this is what you have done.
Anike in Ajegule wants to join the conversation. Good morning, ma'am. Hello.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to quickly make a contribution to all of this that are going on within our country, Nigeria. It's so unfortunate that a distinguished senator, like we should call it,
Senator Misson,
come up with an accusation that, to me, up to now, he has not been able to prove. Because it is very easy. I think these are the things that, before somebody should allege, I think you should get your facts and figures. It is not after alleging that you start looking for facts and figures. So I think to that extent, the senator has really heard. And the onus lies on him who has had to prove that has actually happened. Nobody is trying to cover up the Inspector General of Police. We know the thinking of the people about the police. In fact, as soon as the allegation is coming out, a whole lot, I think 90% of people have believed that, yes, it has happened. But it is not normal, and we are not doing ourselves any good in this country, because all of these things, people abroad are reading it, people all over the world are reading it. Why should we make ourselves look like we are the most corrupt nation in the whole world? Why should we portray ourselves in such a way that people will feel you can't even deal with anybody in Nigeria, whether highly placed or lowly placed? To me, I think the senator should come up with an evidence, if he has it, And if he does not have it, there should be a way of punishing him for bringing up a false allegation. It can happen to anybody, but he should prove it. Because me and you today, anybody can stand up tomorrow and accuse us of what we have not done. And it will hold sway and hold water because we all believe. And with the way social media stuff are flying out, I believe if this senator has something, it must have been on the pages of newspapers and in the social media. But until he rightly proves it, I have been calling him an undistinguished senator. And I stand to be correct until they prove it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in. We'll go on a break. We'll be right back to continue the conversation. Okay, welcome back. Home stretch now. Main allegation that the Inspector General of Police makes in the region of 120 billion a year, coming from maybe it's not just security for corporate entities and some individuals. I don't know. Maybe the rumor also, one not being in the police, one can hardly speak on that, is that no promotions, no meaningful promotions actually happen in there without. I think lawyers refer to it as some sort of consideration. Consideration, I think, is the delicate words lawyers would use. But 120 billion is no chicken change. The more important thing is that the most senior cop, the most senior policeman, if this were to stand and to be proved, then we are in big trouble. We as a country are in big trouble. And as Madam Anike was saying, everybody is listening, everybody is watching. Some things happen all over the world. You see the most senior policeman come out and speak, and you get a sense of this is the police. Now, so all of that is why this is a very, very important matter.
Sir, that is the reason why the intervention of the Attorney General of the Federation is key now.
Okay. Yakub has been holding on for a long while. Mr. Yakub, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you. And then good morning to Dr. Kolawole and Mr. Mustafa.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
If you read to me, the last caller has said it all. When you know that you cannot prove an allegation, and then you started it, I dare to disagree with Dr. Kolawole this morning. Because for saying that IG should step aside and Senator Misao should step aside when the investigation is on. See, this is the senator that brings the allegation. I don't think the IG of the Federation should step aside. Because you bring on the allegation that you cannot be able to prove 10 billion, if I'm correct. How are you going to prove such investigation? How are you going to prove that kind of allegation? Well, then you said the Inspector General of Police is in a position to destroy this, that. You know you're a senator, unless somebody that has the facts in his hand. And then if you want to go to court now, as they send the guy to the court now, I'm very sure if the law is going to take its course, it cannot go scot-free. But if senators say they want to set up the investigation, we know how the set up the investigation senators are setting up. We know how some of it. They always protect themselves. See, for me, I like the way the Attorney General of Federation goes to court. But he could have left it for the Inspector General of Police to take it on by himself.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Yakub.
They should go to court and send the...
Thank you very much.
The Attorney General cannot defend himself.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Because we're running out of time, yes. I wanted to also throw into the mix the fact that then a lot of personal stuff has suddenly come up. Suddenly the whole matter about his marriage, his marrying somebody, they've somehow
for me, sir,
roped this whole personal aspect.
That's the most demeaning. It is annoying. It's demeaning. It's despicable. Bringing a person's wife into this kind of matter.
They say in love and politics. I don't know if this is politics.
Let me say this.
There must be decency.
Let me say this. The options open to the disposition of police is very, very clear. If you have been wrongly accused, another, you could go to court and take an action for defamation. And then Senator Misa will now come to court and tender whatever he has. But for the AGF to use state resources to start prosecuting Mesau against another citizen, it is wrong. The IG or police should just have gone to court, take a defamatory action. Look, you have libeled me. Please come to court, and then he will be punished if he goes in there and
let me cite an example.
He's unable to prove his case. Furthermore, if Mesau's accusations, if Mesau is able to prove only that the Argentina takes just £1 from some of the corruption issues he has mentioned, that is enough to seal the
Mr. Kenneth in Lekki, good morning.
He doesn't have to prove the whole of the 10 billion.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please, quickly.
Yeah, good morning. I've been trying to get it for all these years. Okay. This is my contribution. It's very simple. The IG, the allegation made by the senator against the IG, the issue is very simple. The allegation the senator made against the IG, it's an allegation, we all agree. But are we saying that the IG is totally innocent? Are we not Nigerians? Don't we know what is going on in this country? Before these people are posted, police are posted all over the place that a certain amount of money is paid. Nobody's talking about that. Even if you are going on a political jamboree or you are going on a special occasion and you need policemen, they are sent policemen to you and you pay some good amount of money. I'm aware of that myself. So where does all this money go to? Whether it's 120 billion, whether it's 5 naira, whether it's 10 naira, where does it go to? Why are we asking the man to prove whether it's 120 billion? Must it be 120 billion? Even though it's 1 kobo. Does he have the right to collect 1 kobo for the police?
But Kenneth,
nobody knows where it's going to.
Yeah, but Kenneth, every allegation needs to be proved, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the man is, the way people have been calling in to say as if Misao is a devil. I'm just saying that it should be investigated.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in.
That is the investigation we are talking about. But this women angle is very
that's the personal aspect that's suddenly been injected into this whole matter because it is suggesting improper conduct of a public officer.
Undue influence should have been read into it. The IG cannot marry another police officer while still in that place. He cannot do that. It is wrong.
The family had come out.
It's like you saying you saw a beautiful student of yours and then you take them in marriage. No, you don't do it. Is it that when the lady will resign or when the IG has left the place and all that?
She already did that before the marriage.
No.
The family came out.
Before they married, we were been seeing their
so the even saying that you got her impregnated.
We've been seeing their pictures on Facebook and all that.
Now look at this way. You are parading the naked body of a woman, another person's wife, for political ends.
So it goes to show you that this has become something of a bloody fight.
That's an all-time low for me. I even expected women organizations, women NGOs to rise up against that kind of thing.
But
it is wrong.
As Kenneth said, look, without leaning on one side or the other too much, look, he who alleges must prove. But at the same time, it's not as if the reputation of the police actually precedes it. So one also has that to contest with.
As a matter of fact, it would have been better if the allegation is against the police.
It's not the police. It's not against the police.
Okay, let me take our last caller, Mr. Boyo from Ojo. Okay, Mr. Holo from Ojo, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Yori.
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
I just want to make a contribution.
Sure, please.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah. Well, my contribution is this. The people that are speaking as if we are Europeans or Americans, where the corruption is a bit low there. You see, we all know the police. We know what they can do. But what I want to say is that the IG, whether he collected 120 billion bribery from the oil companies or even if it is 1 naira, it is against the law. The senator that is made this allegation must have had this evidence before him. But the matter, my main contribution is the police cannot investigate this matter. They should consider an independent investigator Thank you very much.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Holo. I think one understands that, look, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to investigate yourself.
Statutorily, unfortunately, statutorily, it is the police that the Constitution saddles with investigations. No. Except we want to go to Ghanaian dance or Asari
There are other agencies of government like ICPC.
They derive their power from
but all of them are coming from, they are people by police officers.
Administratively, if the Police Service Commission is not involved in this, they could even have also investigated it administratively. Okay. But because they have also been indicted by writing a letter for somebody to disengage in 2011, 2014, they cannot be seen to be neutral in this anymore. So, if you are going to get to the bottom of this thing, the best thing to do is to ask the Inspector of Police to go on leave, South to be suspended from the Senate.
Just because somebody got up and made some allegations.
Sure, you see all over the world. Because go and study all over the world.
I know. Mr. Ferrari, I was going to make
once you are indicted and the investigation is...
I was going to give an example.
You step aside. Okay. Your salary will still be... Okay. You will be in some escrow.
I was going to give an example, sir. I was going to give an example.
If your services are...
Some years back.
Very quickly. We don't have time anymore.
Some years back, Justice Ways, as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, in open court, 2 lawyers came to say, my Lord, you are corrupt. The man had an opportunity to ask them to put off their wig and gown and place them on the bus and sentence them for contempt. He didn't do that. He referred the matter to the disciplinary committee of the legal practitioners disciplinary committee. And eventually, both were derobed. You understand me? And the same thing is playing off here. Let the Attorney General, that is the statutory something that body that should do this and carry out the investigation. Let them do it.
The AGF is part of the executive. Okay. The Inspector General of Police is part of the executive.
We completely run out of time.
So that is the challenge.
I imagine that the sooner we get to the end of this, to the bottom of all of this, the better for all of us, for the integrity of the country, the integrity of law enforcement in the country. But I want to thank you, Barrister Tunde Kolawole, public affairs analyst, and Mr. Mustafa Ogunshakin, journalist, publisher of Gavel International. Thank you very much for coming on. We just hope that this will be resolved, with fairness, at the end of the day, so we can get our police back and they keep on doing the good work that they can do. Okay, that's our program. Well, we don't do weekends, so join us on Monday for a fresh edition from 10:30 in the morning. I'm Yori Falani. Have a great weekend.